There's a special collaboration happening between the Charleston Museum and the Eliza Lucas Pinckney Chapter of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution. And here to share more on the Pinckney Project, The Next Step, is Virginia Thierman, Curator of Historic Textiles at the museum, and Jill Templeton, Historic Preservation Chair for the Pinckney Chapter of the NSDAR. Welcome to you both, ladies. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a long time.
It has.
Since COVID, as a matter of fact, so we actually get to meet each other in the flesh. So it's great to have you both with us.
Thank you.
Before we get into the next step, why don't you tell us, Virginia, about the first step? What has been going on with this project?
Sure. So we first partnered with the ELP chapter of the DAR in the 2010s, so for a 2016 conservation project of Eliza Lucas Pinckney's gown, which many Low Country residents may be familiar with.
Sure.
It was exhibited after the conservation work was done, and it actually was exhibited again in 2023 as part of our 250th anniversary celebrations at the museum.
That's wonderful. How old is this gown?
It dates from about 1753.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
How do you preserve something like that? Because textiles are so very delicate.
So we work with a method called preventive conservation. The goal is to keep the environment as stable as possible, keep temperature and humidity in a relatively reasonable range, and make sure that the gown is packed away properly in an archival box. The conservation that we were able to do with ELP Chapter's help was a big deal because we were able to consolidate areas that had issues, places where there were tears or loss or staining. All of those were able to be very gently repaired and or put back into place.
Oh goodness, and what is the condition of it today?
It's in pretty good condition. I mean, she is, 250 plus years old. But she's able to go on display flat for very short periods of time. So we're looking to display the gown again in 2026 as part of our Ringleaders of Rebellion exhibition.
Fantastic. Well, this is a direct representation of the chapter that you represent, but now you're also representing on the national level, Jill.
Yes, I am serving as a National Vice Chair for our America 250 Committee, and my position specifically to do with women patriots like Eliza.
What does that mean for someone who wants to become a member or maybe trace their lineage to then join?
So any member of the DAR can directly trace their lineage to someone who served during the American Revolution, and by serving, it's not necessarily fighting. It's, they could have given a loan to the government like Eliza. There are people who suffered depredation. There are women who are camp followers who helped with laundering and cooking, which was actually a very important part to keep this all going.
Sure, sure. What is your direct lineage?
Well, one is Pennsylvania. I have several, but the one I went in under is from Pennsylvania.
Is that right? Fought or?
He did. He was in the militia.
Is that right?
Right.
How interesting is that? I mean, to go on that deep dive, you learn so much about not just your family, but also of yourself.
Yes.
What was that process like?
Well, my great-grandmother was a member, and so that's how I got started, but then I realized the organization was a service organization, and that's what's kept me involved all this time.
Is it a challenge to trace your lineage that far?
Yes and no. It's, there are many things out there, and within our organization we have people who help, we have committees that help. It's just you have to get in there and do the digging, and it never ends. That's the key.
How long is the process, typically speaking?
Oh gosh, it depends on, it can go anywhere. I've heard of people are very quickly, and some people take 2 years to find what they're looking for.
So what is the impact to you, Jill, just with this particular project at the Charleston Museum, and how does this kind of affect the chapter itself and the women who belong to it?
Well, we're very proud to be able to do this once again and work with the Charleston Museum. Historic preservation is one of the main goals of the National Society, so this falls into play, and it helps us recognize there's no portrait of Eliza. Often the stories of women weren't out there, and being able to preserve these things or conserve these things tells a story that you might not necessarily find elsewhere. It's a tactile and visual story.
Yeah, and her story, just a nutshell.
Yeah, oh gosh.
If you can't
put her in a nutshell. She was just a fascinating woman. She, if you read about her, there was a time when she said, we need to go timber, because she foresaw the need for mast during the war, because she saw the revolution coming. She grew silk, mulberry trees to produce silk. very famous for indigo.
Yes, of
It's a quick
course.
Google search, you can find that out.
Yeah, indeed. Wonderful, wonderful. So the next step in this project, where does it take us?
So we're working to conserve her shoes, which were worn by her in around 1770. They're a pair of blue silk satin shoes with silver braid. So if you imagine that, it's like the silver glimmering in the candlelight.
Yes.
So they're a wonderful example of, you know, shoes of that period of time. They also have the original maker label in them from Thomas
Really?
Hose. Yeah, which is pretty cool to see up close.
Is that Thomas Hose of pantyhose? Is
Not
just a joke.
quite a
Yes.
direct relation, no. No, but he was what was known as a cordwainer, which was a kind of a formal shoemaker in London.
interesting.
So it's likely that Eliza would have had contact with him during the 2 times in her life she lived in London, when she was in boarding school as a girl, and then when she returned again in her 30s.
They say you can tell a lot about a person by their shoes. What does it tell you about her?
Oh gosh. I think both her shoes and her dress speak to a woman of strong personality who knew what she liked and really enjoyed kind of spending a little on her wardrobe to help create her image. I mean,
And
she was a
elegant
woman,
and-
for the majority of her life, she moved alone through the world, and that took a lot of determination.
Fascinating stuff. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. So where can people find it, and up until what date can people come and see?
Yes, so the Pinckney Project, the next step, is a fundraising project. So we're looking to finish out the conservation work needed to preserve both the shoes and a sash owned by one of Eliza's granddaughters. It'll be going on display next year in the Ringleaders of Rebellion exhibition in the museum, which will open in January of 2026.
Great.
So we're hoping to continue that fundraising and finish out that conservation project in time to return them home for the exhibition.
Virginia, Jill, great to have you both with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.